News Express. Ghana's President-elect John Mahama visits President Tinubu in Aso Villa. In business, bill on prohibition of foreign currency use in Nigeria scales first reading in Senate. Rising food prices drive inflation to 34.6 high. On the foreign scene, Russia's chemical weapons chief and mouthpiece killed in Moscow. And in sports courses, Ricardo Modric suspended after failing drug test. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anthony Momodu. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nikonsat. The President-elect of Ghana, John Mahama, paid a courtesy visit to President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja. Photos from the meeting, which may not be unconnected to the victory recorded by Mahama at the Ghana presidential election, were shared on social media by presidential aide Olusegun Dada. Mahama, who ruled Ghana between 2012 and 2017, won the election by defeating his main opponent, Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia. Mahama will be sworn in as the sixth democratically elected president of the West African country on January 7th. President Bola Tinubu has urged the media to support his administration's proposed tax reforms. The president, represented by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, at the 2024 Nigerian Media Merit Award in Lagos, described the media as a critical step towards building enduring national wealth and prosperity for all Nigerians. He stated that while opinions may differ on the details of the proposed tax reforms, there is a national consensus on the need for a complete overhaul of the current tax administration system. He remains optimistic that through the ongoing dialogue on the tax reforms, there would be many areas of convergence of opinions, as the bills before the National Assembly is aimed at strengthening the number of taxes, ease the burden on vulnerable Nigerians, increase the share of taxes going to states, and foster business growth through targeted incentives. On agriculture, the federal government has approved 30 billion naira for the nation's 30 universities of agriculture to immediately commence mechanized farming. Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, disclosed this in Abuja while declaring open a retreat organized by the Ministry of Education for pro-chancellors of federal universities. The announcement came with a directive for specialized universities to focus strictly on their core mandates and cease offering programs unrelated to their original purpose. The minister further revealed that each university would receive 1 billion naira as a take-off grant for the initiative. The deputy majority leader of the House of Representatives, Abdullahi Ibrahim Ali Halims, representing Ankpa and Omala Olama Borough Federal Constituency, has reiterated his commitment to the creation of Okura State. Speaking during a meeting with the Okura State movement in Abuja, Halims vowed to leverage his position as the principal officer to advance the long-standing aspiration for state creation, as he emphasized unity and collective effort as essential elements for the realization of the Okura State. The chairman of the Okura State Movement, Chief Robert Usman Audu, said the proposed state aims to address long-standing demands for equitable representation, balanced development, and improved governance for the Igala and Bassa ethnic groups in the region. The National Assembly has been urged to use its oversight functions to protect Nigerians from extortion by the electricity distribution companies, DISCOs. The African Anti-Slavery Coalition, in a statement by its convener Tony Marshall, also called on the Assembly to organize a public hearing in Lagos to address the exploitation of consumers through fraudulent billing practices and the mismanagement of the prepaid metering system. The coalition decried the abuse of the prepaid metering system, which was originally designed to ensure consumers pay only what they use. Instead, it has become a tool for intolerable extortion by discos. The group, however, welcomed the Senate's recent acknowledgement that the 2013 privatization of the power sector was a failure and called for a comprehensive review. Edo State Governor Monday Okpeholo has dissolved all commissions in the state public service with immediate effect. Secretary to the Edo State Government, Umar Ekelo, made the announcement confirming that the dissolution affected several key bodies, including the Edo State Independent Electoral Commission, House of Assembly Service Commission, the Civil Service Commission, the Edo State Oil and Gas Producing Areas Development Commission, Edo State Forestry Commission, Edo State Audit Service Commission, and the Judicial Service Commission. The SSG instructed that all chairmen and members of the dissolved commissions are to hand over any government property in their possession to the most senior public officials. Officer of the 117 Battalion over the alleged unlawful arrest and detention of a community leader in Nasarawa State. Manso Soro moved the motion during plenary, explaining that a community leader, Bello Badejo, had on December 9, 2024 been arrested in Maliya Town, Nasarawa State, by officers of the 177 Battalion of the Nigerian Army with no prior invitation or court injunction. 1 week after, Badejo is yet to be arraigned, which, according to Soro, signifies an unlawful act by the Nigerian Army and a violation of the fundamental human rights as provided in Section 34, 35, and 36 of the 1999 Nigerian Constitution as amended. The service chiefs are to appear before the House Committees on Army, Human Rights, and Justice on Thursday, 20th December 2024. Gender-based violence has been one of the most common social problems in Nigeria, affecting mostly women and girls across ethnic, religious, and social boundaries. Global Television correspondent Sharon Ajay spoke to members of the public on how gender-based violence affects the society.
Globally, gender-based violence has predominantly been associated with women and girls, which often overshadows the experiences of men who are also victims of gender-based violence.
I don't think it's restricted to just to women, but I think for the women it's more common. It's on a higher percentage than what, compared to men. Okay.
But we live in a society where, a woman can hit you, but a man can't really hit back. So if a man is to find himself in such a situation where he's being abused by his partner and he can't really hit back or speak out, that has a long-term effect on men. I think more effort should be made towards educating people on such happenings. Yeah. Okay, sure. Thank you. That's all. That was good.
Not that men doesn't go. There is, because I know some men went through if you go to all these some big famous schools, you see some lecturers that want to have affair with fellow men. You get, so there is space in higher institution. You can see it in workplace. Okay. You get, but inside of women is more. But it's so obvious in the side of women, but men it's not that obvious. You can hardly detect that of men, but it happened, just 20% out of it.
While some offenders have been locally prosecuted, women have urged that the government look into a working law to incarcerate offenders for a period of time.
I don't feel they're actually being persecuted to serve as a deterrent to others. So for me, I don't feel it is the way we talk about this thing. I don't feel we are giving so much energy to it to persecute.
Once someone is arrested, before you know, the person will be released. So the person has not passed through the persecution. So I think that they should persecute them very well so that the level of the crime will reduce in Nigeria.
It is essential to acknowledge that gender-based violence affects individuals of all genders and that both gender recognition and support are crucial in addressing the issue. Sharon Ajay, reporting for Global TV News.
The National Association of Nigerian Students Zone E has issued a 14-day ultimatum to the federal government to mobilize contractors to the site of 4 ongoing major road projects in the northeastern region. This is contained in a statement issued by the Zone E coordinator, Umar Afaka, who disclosed that the association equally tasked the Minister of Works, Dave Omahi, to provide a comprehensive timeline for the completion of the 4 projects, calling on the federal government to identify and address all the challenges hindering the project's progress. Nance insisted that the contractors handling the project must immediately resume work at the sites of the affected projects, or the federal government will face mass protest. The Nigerian Customs Service has foiled the effort of a smuggling syndicate after 9 trucks loaded with bags of smuggled rice were impounded in Ogun State. Controller of the Federal Operations Unit FOU Zone A, Kola Oladeji, at a press briefing in Lagos, lauded customs officers under the unit for stopping the smugglers from bringing in products into the country from the Republic of Benin. Oladeji revealed further that the command had mobilized 6 extra buses and 11 patrol vehicles to convey the product to the customs warehouse after the smugglers abandoned their vehicles. You're watching News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. When News Express returns, rising food prices drive inflation to 34.6 high. Details of these as well as foreign and sports stories coming right after the break. Please stay with us. Welcome back from the break. In business, as part of efforts to address critical developmental challenges in Nigeria, the World Bank is set to decide on 3 major loan projects for Nigeria in 2025, totaling $1.65 billion. The loans currently in the pipeline will focus on internally displaced persons, education, and nutrition enhancement. According to information obtained from the World Bank's website, the loans are designed to support Nigeria's social and economic recovery, particularly in vulnerable sectors requiring urgent intervention. The first project, titled Solutions for the Internally Displaced and Host Communities project, has a commitment amount of $300 million and is scheduled for approval on the April 8, 2025. The Senate has initiated steps to restore Nigeria's monetary sovereignty by outlawing the use of foreign currencies for payments and transactions within the country. The proposed legislation aimed at ensuring all payments, including salaries and transactions, are conducted in Naira, seeks to eliminate discriminatory practices and strengthen confidence in the local currency, including making it mandatory for export to be paid in Naira. The bill, titled A Bill for an Act to Alter the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2007, number 7, to prohibit the use of foreign currencies for remuneration and for other related matters, is sponsored by Senator Ned Nwoko, chairman of the Senate Committee on Repatriations and Repatriation. According to Senator Nwoko, the widespread use of foreign currencies in Nigeria's financial system undermines the value of the naira, perpetuating economic challenges. He described the use of the dollar, pound, sterling, and other foreign currencies for domestic transactions as a colonial relic that continues to hinder Nigeria's economic independence. Nigeria's inflation rose to 34.60% in November 2024, reflecting a 0.72% increase from October's rate of 33.88%. This came as Nigerians expressed optimism that the level of inflation across the country would decelerate in the next 6 months. This was one of the outcomes of the Inflation Expectation Survey report for November, published by the Statistics Department of the Economic Policy Directorate of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The rise in inflation is largely driven by food price increases, which continues to place a strain on Nigerian households. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu revealed that the Federal Executive Council approved a 262.75 billion naira for the first phase of the Presidential Power Initiative, otherwise known as the CMES project. The project involves the engineering, procurement, construction, and financing of 330 and 132 kV and 132 and 33 kV substations in Onitsha, Offa, Abeokuta, Ayade, and Sokoto. Adelabu stated this after the meeting in Abuja, saying that the approval follows the 80% completion of the project's pilot phase. And moving to the foreign scene, Russia's parliament has approved a bill that could pave the way for Moscow to lift its designation of the Taliban as a banned terrorist organization. Moscow has cutted relations with the Taliban since they seized power in Afghanistan after the United States' chaotic withdrawal in 2021. Officials have since been pushing to remove the Islamic group from Moscow's list of outlawed terror groups. The State Duma passed a bill outlining a mechanism for the groups to be legally removed from the list, putting the necessary legal framework in place for an expected future decision. Head of Russia's radiation, chemical and biological protection troops, Igor Kirillov, died in an explosion in Moscow and was accused by the West of overseeing the use of chemical weapons on the battlefield in Ukraine. In Russia, he was viewed as a tireless patriotic fighting for the truth and exposing Western crimes. Sources from Ukraine's SBU security services said it was behind the blast and described it as a special operation against a war criminal and a legitimate target. According to Russian officials, Kirillov and an aide were killed by explosives planted in an electric scooter, which was blown up as he left the building. He lived on the Ryazan Prospect in southeastern Moscow. And talking sports, Chelsea forward Mikhailo Modric has failed a doping test. The Premier League club made this known as reports stated the Ukraine international has been provisionally suspended. The Blues said they were notified by the Football Association of an adverse finding in a urine sample provided by the 23-year-old winger. Modric issued a statement via his Instagram account confirming categorically that he has never knowingly used any banned substance. Both Mikhailo and the club will now work with the relevant authorities to establish what has caused the adverse findings. Former Egyptian player Mohamed Aboutrika has said he is confident Mohamed Salah will extend his deal with Liverpool. Salah's current deal expires in June, though he now has a new contract offer in front of him. However, in a chat with newsman, Aboutrika stated that without Salah, Liverpool will struggle to be where they are today in the league this season. Wolves Wanderers have agreed a deal for Victor Pereira to become their new manager following the sacking of Gary O'Neill. Reports say the struggling Premier League club would pay around €1 million to bring the boss of a Saudi Pro League side Al Shabab to the English top flight. According to further reports, personal terms have been agreed and the 56-year-old is expected to sign a 1.5-year contract. He is understood to be flying to England with official confirmation expected in the next 24 hours. To end News Express on Global Television, here is a recap of our top stories. The President-elect of Ghana, John Mahama, paid a courtesy visit to President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. In business, the Senate has initiated steps to restore Nigeria's monetary sovereignty by outlawing the use of foreign currencies for payments and transactions within the country. Nigeria's inflation rose to 34.60% in November 2024, reflecting a 0.72% increase from October's rate of 33.88%. On the foreign scene, head of Russia's radiation and chemical and biological protection troops, Igor Kirillov, died in an explosion in Moscow and was accused by the West of overseeing the use of chemical weapons on the battlefield in Ukraine. And in sports, Chelsea forward Mikhailo Modric has failed a doping test that's it on the News Express, and it came to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and on StarTimes channel 276 and free to air on MyConsart. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Anthony Momodu. Thank you for watching.